So, welcome everybody to the Abundance on Tap podcast. So happy to be here with Erika and Lyn Hicks, a mother-daughter duo, and just so much energy and fun. And I just absolutely love their story. So I'm so excited to be just, providing you with this amazing story of these two women. So let's just dive in. Let's go back to the farm because that's kind of like where we were at when we first got on here today. So let's go back to your childhood and the way you were raised, Erika, and just how aware, Lyn, you were raising your daughter back in the 90s and early 2000s, because that is a really unique part of this whole journey. So let's go there.
Well, I'll start just by, that's kind of our, brand. And essentially is that, I say I'm an organic baby, and it's because of my mom. I mean, when she had me, she realized I was the most important thing to take care of. And so she started doing her research on chemicals. We lived on a farm with goats, chickens, ducks. We had a farm dog. It was so amazing. I had a tree house, a tire swing, a pond, a creek, like literally everything a dream kid would probably love. And, when I got older, you don't want to be like your parents. So for a while there, I definitely strayed into something else. But now I'm coming back to like, wow, yeah, like my childhood is exactly how I want my kids to be. And I'm so grateful that my mom showed up in that way. And what do you want to say about that? You're organic flower farmer.
Yeah. Well, when I had Erika, as most parents know, like you don't know what you're doing, and none of my friends had children. So I was the first one. And, there was this dawning, like whatever I feed my husband and my daughter, whatever's in my house, like it's my job. It's like my responsibility. So I really kind of took it seriously. Like if they have, Alzheimer's or heart attack, like that's all kind of on the woman because we're the householders. So it really started my education into how to what vegetables and foods and
CSAs too.
Yeah,
we did.
we were part of CSAs. I grew flowers. I did non-toxic stuff in the house once I learned all the chemicals that were around, and they're on your dishes and you're cleaning your counter. And so all of that was really huge awakenings as a parent to just become better educated and know more because I had to care for someone. And that extended to my family. And I really think it's the feminine principle in us that really awakens because we're in a masculine world most of the time. And when you become a mom and that whole connection of having a child and really being responsible for other lives, you really start to awaken this nourishing principle that makes you more discerning of all the things around you.
Yeah, I just want to say one last comment is just, this is why I am so non-toxic now and even want to make that more of a mission. And then that's another reason why we fell so in love with this product of Kangen water and that business model too.
Yeah. Now, for me, the cleaning and the laundry and all that, at that time, you had to really, I'm not a label reader. I'm not a detailer. I was part of Melaleuca because I knew that they had done better products. But, when I saw this machine, I was like, oh my God, there's no label reading. I don't have to go, is it this one or that one? And there's so much greenwashing. I've been part of the green movement a really long time. And you kind of have to discern because it could have been a green company and then Procter and Gamble brought it, and now they're not doing like Ben and Jerry's or Tom's toothpaste. Yeah. And that to me, I just don't have time for that. So I was happy when people brought me information that I could make decisions easily. And the machine, no cleaners. Like how many kids have problems with allergies and issues? And for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you don't have to buy this stuff. Like it was just so, the sustainability part was so beautiful to me. And especially being more like lazy and less label lady kind of, you know, person, and more intuitive. I just thought, wow, you know, I can clear my house. And once my house is filled with just water and non-toxins, you're providing the sacred home. And then the water is cleansing. So the world is filled with a lot of stuff, but if we're cleansing in our sacred space isn't offering additional issue, then you're really living that feminine archetype of nourishing your home, your family, and then the larger world. And
micro and macro.
Yeah. And that's just always been a connection, especially out of being a flower farmer. You're in the cycle of life. You see things. I didn't use any pesticides. I didn't do anything. If I had beetles or whatever, I planted organically. So things, if that crop didn't work, another one would shine. Like, so being connected to the earth and remembering we are that has always been a way of life for me. And so this opportunity really just kind of makes it easy, you know, because there's so many choices and so much information you have to sift through, but you don't have to if you have a cake.
So true. That's so true. So, Lyn, were you raised more naturally? Like, how did you learn all of this? Because, you know, I grew up in a town that had nobody was farming. I mean, the farmers, I grew up in central Pennsylvania, so it was like there were lots of Amish people, but we didn't know them. We weren't connected with them. We didn't even shop at their stores. Like we just went to the grocery store. We went to the same grocery store every week growing up, and that's where we bought our food. And that's what I grew up doing. And so it like there was not a connection to the food. There was not a connection that like I was part of nature. And my parents didn't have that either. So it's like, how did you know to do this and bring this to your daughter at such a young age? I mean, like pregnancy, right? And so like you provided her with this lifestyle that all of us are trying to provide our generation with, but you were so aware when so many people weren't. So like, what did you have, a community? Was it the flower farm that really educated you on being?
You know what? I have a best friend, and she was into green too. And she was an interior designer. And I think at one point her interior designer brought her the Melaleuca. And
which is like a MLM,
but it's all environmental products and laundry detergents and everything, shampoos. And that's when we really learned that in the 70s, after the wars, they had to do something with the chemicals. Of course, they're going to monetize them. And personal care products are not regulated. So we can go out and create a face cream, anything. And until someone sues us, the FDA doesn't get involved. Now, businesses do have regulations, but not personal care. So our homes are really up to us. So we learned that, and the toxic cleaners were the first thing, because Tilex, and I mean, you just had to use them. And
Windex, bleach, right? We didn't have any of that stuff in our home when I was growing up.
I started with those things like everyone else. Now, my grandparents were poor farmers. we're 100% Polish.
She is.
So I am. So they had a farm, and when I was little, I would go there, and I just thought it was so fun, and it's a fun place to play.
Yeah, and they like cut the chicken heads off.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that, but they lived. That was part of the victory gardens from the war. Yeah. But my mom didn't have that. My dad was like, "Get me off the farm," kind of like you. And
he went back to farming though.
He always had a garden, but he didn't want like the big animal and all of that. And my mom, we ate cheap food and spam and weird things. And there was a lot of stuff that my sister and I were kind of like, just as humanity evolves. And like I said, as you become a mom, I don't know, something clicks inside you. to be more aware. So
Mhm.
I was we were on big land and I wanted to grow vegetables, but then I was like, oh, I'm going to charge $20 for that pint of tomatoes because little cherry tomatoes take a long time to pick. So that's when I was like, you know what, maybe flowers would be better for me. So I had to learn how to grow, and then I met all the farming community. And in doing that, of course, I knew vegetables from the farm were going to be better than the grocery store. Um, so it was kind of a natural progression of really um, being healthy. My girlfriend and I, we ran, we hiked. Our friend group was always playing. We did ultimate frisbee. So when I had Erika, we were healthy. I mean, we did our share of partying and stuff, but we were health related and we wanted to be beautiful and look good. So it started there. But I think ultimately when you have a child, it amps it up. It amped it up in me and my girlfriend. So we were always sharing, we read prevention. And then, that was once you learn, it's like when I was part of the green movement, people would be like, oh, well, a photographer can't be green, because they use chemicals. And I'm like, no, that's not how you look at it. Like if everybody who wasn't green used different, recycle or whatever, that would make more change than all the green people being super green, and people would get very, concerned about how green you are. And it's like, no, just start them on the journey, because whether it's holistic healing or green or learning about your food and labels, once you get in, it just pulls you. And then next thing you know, you're worried about your air. And then you're worried about, and it's a fun journey. It's not like this, oh, I have to be green. It's like, oh my God, I'm supporting life. And instead of getting rid of my clothes, I find someone who has a younger kid and I give them my stuff. And like, it's just, to me, it's all femininity. The green movement is the feminine movement, is the local movement. And it's about nourishing. And we learn how to do that, and it keeps going and it never ends, and it's not hard, and we don't have to make it like a task or a masculine yang production thing. No, it's the flow of life that we really support. And that's why we're in water, because water has a flow, like the emotions, like the femininity. It is really about life giving, and everyone can do it in their own way, in their own journey. And we can encourage each other instead of have, well, I wouldn't do that, or
rules on the green movement.
The green movement's just greenwashed at this point, and it's really just sad because it's all about special interests and profit, and it's not actually about the planet. And so what we're doing, and we have part of a global network of people who are doing, who are actually like really not purchasing as much plastic, or cutting it in half, or maybe even cutting it by 90%. It's hard though when you shop at the grocery store. I mean, I try and I'm very actively trying, but I know we still produce recycles, right? And I know we still produce trash even though we compost everything. It's just part of living in the US right now, and going to the grocery store. It's winter where you are and where I am, so we don't have a lot of fresh stuff, but we will, right? So it's this balance of always being consciously aware of it. Like I was on the call with an investor yesterday, and he's like, I don't think anybody would buy like a bottle. Like I want a plastic cup. And I'm just like, but your demographic wants a plastic cup. Like you want simple, easy, you don't want to think about it, you want to throw it away. I want to go after people who are wanting to purchase the bottle because they're like, actually, I can use this bottle 1,000,000,000, like as many times until I lose it, right? So the people that we're attracting in, the people that we want this message to reach, are the people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna be responsible for taking my own water out of the house, my water to work, my water to the gym, my water to just going to the grocery store, right? Because we know like we might want something to drink. And so I would love to just dive in a little bit more about what your life was like prior to finding out about, Kangen machine, and then like tell us how you invested and really what launched you into this, um, just like what I believe it is abundance on tap, but also an ATM on tap and, community on tap. It's like all the things I was looking for, this machine provides and wherever you go. So yeah, I would love to hear more about that.
Well, so I found the business and I clicked on an ad. I clicked on an ad. I clicked on so many ads and I'm like, what are these people talking about? They're in Hawaii, they're living their life, it's beautiful. They mentioned water. And so I just kept clicking them. And then I met a couple people on Instagram that were doing the same thing. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And so eventually we just kind of were like, okay, let me look into this. And I tell this story of like my mom was moving out here. And at the time I was making like $2,000 a month maybe in my job, like nothing, nannying. And she's like, go look for apartments. I'm moving to Colorado to be near you. And I'm like, okay. And so I go look at these 1-bedroom apartments and they're like $1,600 to live by yourself. And I just had this like super breakdown moment of like, oh my gosh, like I only make $2,000. Like there's no way I could ever live on my own in this, I was in the nannying industry at that time and like serving and things. And I was like, this is just not sustainable. This is not the life I want. And I can't even afford life at this point. And so I had like that mental breakdown, and that's kind of when this compensation plan came into my life, and I was just like, whoa, mind blown. I was like, health, sustainability, wellness, abundance, like, generational wealth. I was like, this is insane. And so of course I sent it to my mom because my mom and I are like best friends. And I'm like, Mom, does this look like something that you would even do with me? Or like, does this look like a good idea to kind of start our lives? Because even prior to that, I was building a blog. I took blog classes, Pinterest classes. I was learning how to kind of affiliate market from Amazon on my blog and make money that way, because I really wanted to work online. I really wanted to work for myself, and I really wanted to work online. And so I found this blog opportunity, which I really liked to do. I liked creating videos. I liked writing. And I liked making graphics and, pins on Pinterest. And so I was already being called in that direction. The vehicle, I probably did it for like 6 months very consistently. And then I was like, this is a lot of work, like writing a blog once a week and creating the graphics and making sure they're scheduled. And like, I don't feel creative to write a blog about something right now. And I don't know what products to attach to the blog and like whatever. So there were all these other stories and things that were happening. And then I also was nannying. So my time was giving to that. And so then I was also trying to build the blog. And so my energy was split at that time. And so I already was on that journey of wanting the time freedom, wanting the location freedom, wanting to be my own boss. I've always known, I wasn't going to do it the right way or the normal way. I mean, it took me 7 years to finish college, and that's a whole nother story of what happened there. But, there's just, my life has been not traditional. And so I was really looking for like a non-traditional kind of way to be successful or to be abundant, to have my own business and to be a leader. And I love the new paradigm. I'm an Aquarius, and I just love being different. I love change. I don't like doing the same thing every day. That's why I think the blog was like boring after a while, because I just didn't want to write all the time. And then I got into like video and like recording myself, and that was like a lot more fun. And I did some oracle card readings. And so I've definitely like dabbled in so many things that can really be my own business and self-sufficient, YouTubing. And then but when this like vehicle, this opportunity of 50 years almost that it's been around, people are successful, there's systems to tap into, there's a community to tap into, that's what I was missing. That's what I was missing as a blogger. And of course I bought, a blog course, and they probably had a community I could have tapped into, but I didn't. I was just like so hyper focused on like my goals, my direction, and they were like a different type of blog than the blog I was writing and everything like that. So yeah, I was like, I found this and was just like flabbergasted. I was like, whoa, like I've been calling something like this in for at least a year and a half before it came in, you know, all the things I mentioned with blogging. And so, as I usually do, I text my mom and I send it to her and I ask her, like, what do you think about this? Is this like da 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 da? And so I'll let her tell her story about when I sent it to her and kind of fall into the investment piece of it all.
Yeah.
So, mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny because when I was in my 20s, I was into water. I
Oh,
was.
yeah.
NSA was the name of the company. And I just always saw, you know, I see things before they happen, or, you know, ahead of, you know, I can see what's coming in or sense it or whatever. So when she brought it to me and I was getting ready to move out here, and at that time the COVID was around, but we had no idea what was going to happen. But I was thinking I'd come out here and get an event job because I do lots of events and have you know, built retreats and stuff, and I'm a teacher. And that wasn't going to happen. And here was this water.
Which we're on our 3rd-year anniversary. We just actually passed it in March. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, that we got in. And so I studied. When she brought it to me, I have to say the video on the compensation plan just rolled in me one night. You know, like I just was like, oh, here you are again. It's green. It's easy. It's helping people detox, like all the things that I'm about, and the femininity and the water was just right for me. It checked all of that. And I could see, because in my 20s, I had seen that now is greater timing, but it wasn't like sexy enough, honestly, for me. I kept researching it. I mean, like I learned about water on the moon, you know, and like I just went off, but I kept hearing inside, get into water. And I'd be like, really? No, 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 no. Be like, get into water. I just kept hearing that. So at that point, I did talk to friends of mine. Since I'm a clinical homeopath, my vision was finding other healers, because I feel like healers are the people that can disseminate this very quickly. And they're like doctors and fitness people. They're the experts in health. And so my goal was to connect with people in that field, knowing that they would be probably the most open to it, as well as the most able to, you know, share them. And healers were what I knew. I helped build a retreat center. And my friend, who's a holistic vet, and she's a woman, she's much older, and she is top in her field and has gone through the masculine.
Yeah, she's a holistic vet. She like does like chiropractic and like acupuncture on people's pets, and they don't even do it for themselves. Yeah. So like, yeah, she knows. She's very,
and she's been groundbreaking. And I sent it to her, and she's like, Lyn, yeah. And that medical part of her was what I needed, I guess. Maybe that traditional medical mixed with the alternative, because I'm more alternative. So then it was like, all right, well, looks like we might as well go in on the business level, which was to get the you know, trifecta.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I started thinking of the trifecta, which was the water, the shower, and the turmeric, which we're all very familiar with in the alternative arts. That's the oldest herb. Knowing it's grown well and properly packaged is important for oxidation. And then our person, Liz, told me about the quad, and I'm like, oh, perfect. I can move out there, find these healing centers, offer them to use the other machine, share that with all their clients for like the whole thing just made great sense to me. So I jumped in with the quad and got Erika with the trifecta, and then she supported another friend to get in with the trifecta, so I helped them as well. So we kind of came in as, and then my friend Sue came in, 11 sales in 1 month.
Within like 3 days of each other, because we all, you know, my mom went first, then friend, then me. And so like, yeah, we're so incredible.
Wow. So how do you know Liz? How did you meet? Was Liz the Instagram?
Yeah. So yeah, my friend Sarah, who we've kind of distanced from each other, she was friends with Liz.
Okay. And so you guys met through the online space.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So everybody watching, just take that in. Erika found this on an ad, and we haven't talked a lot about ads in our evolutionary community because most of us have built organically, but a lot of us are starting to get into that now because of this the leverage aspect, right? Because we can be out doing the things that we love, like being at events, talking to healers, getting our, our loaner machines in different places, but we're also having a back end of automation and letting like the AI world really help bring in that wealth too. Because one of the biggest things I felt since stepping into this position, because I really do believe like we were all called to this, just like Lyn's saying, like she felt like water, these messages, like, and a lot of people have this story, like they're just like so excited when they find it or it finds them because they've been asking, like, I want an opportunity, I want community, I want something natural, I want something sustainable. I want something that actually provides me the wealth that I desire, that's desiring me because everything's gone up in price. So we have to value ourselves more now than we ever have, right? Because just a basic trip to the store is going to definitely cost you more and people are needing extra income now more than ever. So Erika found this through an ad and I just want to like say like if you want to grow your business automated, like that is totally available for you. So getting back to the podcast, I really want to I love this story and how much experience, Lyn, you've had prior in the health and Ayurvedic and naturopathic and herbs and all of these things, right, that you've learned prior to this. And knowing that water is really important when you are 20 years old, how does the water itself, let's go to the product. How does the water, drinking it, making all of your food with it, how has that impacted your lives?
Well, it's really kind of funny because even though I was in my 20s and even now, and especially the medical system is just getting on board of diet. I mean, I don't know what's taken so long. I am not medically trained, but they're just getting into realizing that, not eating McDonald's and packaged food is going to bode better for our health. So for me, I think we often are so focused on that 30% of what we eat and we feel like we're solid, you know what I mean? Like it's all about food. And that's where I was, just like everybody else. And still so many healers and fitness
Supplements
people
too. Yeah, I forgot to say, yeah.
Are caught up in that, what I call the 30%. And the dawning to me was like 70% water. Like it just light bulbed in me.
Yeah, like
regardless of anything else, that it's kind of like, let's heal the ocean by doing something to the earth. Like it doesn't make sense. So I had a light bulb moment really from the neurology lady. There's a video from a neurologist who deals with autistic children and it's a long one, but I really understood that 70% is the power to health. And I think that's where we're leading edge because not many people are talking about water and it is 70% of your health. So you could just change your water and would dramatically shift your whole system in nourishing it because it's small, because it's hydrogen, because H2O is the liquid that's flowing and it's in 4 different states and your body is making it alkaline, it's making it gel, it's part of the blood. Like your body is so magical, so it just needs the right kind of water. And then it's gonna make the proteins, detox the lymph, all of that's gonna work. And if you're it's like if you're eating crappy food, your body's going to be different. If you're doing contaminated water, your body's going to have a different response. So to me, the 70% aha moment changed everything. Then I was like, what am I wasting all my time on this 30% trying to change this larger 100% when I could just ride the numbers? And I'm about ease and practicality. You also have the ability with the right water and that hydrogen going in the smaller way, and your body being able to just use it for whatever it needs.
Yeah.
It's also going to cause your supplements to go down. Like I take a lot less supplements because the water is flushing and feeding me. And then what I need is less, and what I take is used properly.
Yeah.
It's, you know, water is your communication system. It's kind of like, what do they call it? Redox. So the biggest thing about it is the redox system, as I understand the redox in your body, and as you get older, it gets less, is the communication. So like, oh, my hand hurts. And so my cells are going to go up to my brain, and then they're going to send an immune response. If your redox is going down, the communication, and that's what happens, or in our spine, if we've got a nook and we're going to a chiropractor, we have a kink, the communication lines are going to be hindered. So when you can add something that's going to support the communication of your body to itself, all along, you're going to clear so many different problems.
Yeah.
And to me, that's really huge.
Innate healing.
Because I've always taught about the innate healing system. And when I teach women, you know, when we're in the right states and we're understanding that our body wants to heal itself, it's an animal vehicle. We're on the animal kingdom. So if we provide it with the things it needs, it can do things way beyond. You hear people healing tumors and all kinds of healing things that happened. And if one can do it, anyone can do it. And to me, a lot of what I feel is like what makes up your body, what you put in, is what quality, just like what you feed your animals, is what is going to make them healthy, you know? And when I think of even dogs and stuff with cancer, like it's got to be the food and the water, because what else are they doing? They're not having emotional responses. And
well, their owners' emotions maybe.
Yeah, totally. They are, but I mean,
what are they eating and drinking?
I think that's a good way on the base level. But if you start heading up then emotionally, water is traditionally, again, the communication and the emotional nature. It's the flowing nature. It's the energy moving. So when you're dealing with fluidity in your body, hardships that come, it's going to flow more easily. Your mindset. So you get locked in ideas, but you hydrate your brain and your water is working, and all of that is going to just move by. Like life is challenging. Things come at us. But if we have fluidity, like the water going down a stream, instead of sitting on the rock and being like, I'm on the rock, I can't get off, you start to go, oh, slip around. And that to me is really important on the esoteric level, that we do have water as the one connector to every single thing that's alive.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
So, starting from the base level of the hydrogen rich and the microclustered and the ability of the body to use it, heading up to emotionally being able to digest and process and express and not get caught. And then mentally, so many illnesses of the mind are really because of dehydration. And so you get that fluidity, your brain, I don't know, it's like 89% water.
83, I think.
83% water. So
80%.
There's so many studies on hydration and health. So all those levels are going to be affected by it. And then it has, for me, being a teacher of femininity, women are the water, we are represented by the water.
Kuan Yin, as Liz would say.
So I feel, like that's an expression of us to know to adapt, to be flexible, to shift. Communication is about water. Water's communicating in our body. We're communicating with others. There's just so many pieces on so many levels that 70% is operating with.
Yeah.
So I take a lot less. I work out a lot less. I'm in a much higher altitude.
Elevation, yeah.
So the hydration is really important out here because we're so high. I feel like it took me about 2 years to drop 18 pounds. I like saw her do it when she got the water, and I'm like, what's going on? But I came out of here in adrenal stress after my mom had passed, and I'm in a new business and I'm in a new place, and we're in COVID, and none of us had dealt with that. I took the healing time, and after enough hydration and nurturing to my body from a couple years of intense stress of death and caring for people, all of a sudden the weight went. And I knew it was because our body can, with water, slowly unlayer whatever
toxins,
mix mash. It's
Motion.
unique to everyone. It knows how to use it. And it just took that much time. And that's where the liver, the stomach belly toxin, it took that long to get to that piece. And once it did, suddenly I was like, wow, like just like that. So it's going to help us all in individual and unique ways on all those levels, especially physical. And, I just feel so much more alive and vital heading toward, I'll be 59 next month. I know, it's like so old. Me and my girlfriends are like, we're the old people. Like, how did that happen?
You look so young. Like, look at that skin. It's just a radiation, like radiating light. I love it. And everything you're talking about, the Chinese call it like qi, right? It's like the energy, the movement of life that's flowing through us, that communication, that electromagnetic communication. It's only possible through water. And people don't realize that. They're just like, only dealing with the body, right? Only dealing with not the body, but like the physical, the matter, the food. And, you look at all these industries, like every industry that we are all a part of, right? The yoga industry, the music industry, the farming industry, the retreat industry, all of that. Nobody is talking about water, and we've all been in it for, like, I've been in the retreat industry for over a decade. Not one person. I'm going on all these vacation sites. Like, where is then anybody even like filtering the water for people on vacation, spending all this money, and just like no one's thinking of it. And so it's really interesting that we're moving into this more feminine state as a collective. I'm really embracing the softness of water. Let me just.
Sounds like the little ones are back.
Sorry about that. Okay, so we're moving into this state of like more. Like, isn't the planet mostly water? So if the planet is mostly water and we are mostly water, it's this like all knowing, like this connection piece. And I would love, Erika, I would love to hear more about your health and everything that's happened since the water. But I would also love if you guys could talk about like this connection piece. So it's this electromagnetic connection in your own bodies. But now, how is that affecting who's magnetizing in and who's falling away? Because what I really see that's happening to the whole collective of people choosing to invest in this technology that we're talking about is this vortex. And Abraham Hicks says like there has to be contrast. So the idea that it's just going to get easier the more money you have is false. And everybody who makes millions of dollars, actually, there's a lot of people who get there and they're not happy because all these other pieces aren't there. They don't have the community, they don't have their health, right? So how is it feeling to be like electrically connecting to all these people through water who are actually trying to lay the foundation of, once you have that legacy wealth, like all of the other pieces have still been taken care of along the way, right? You were still thinking about your mental health, even though you were working your butt off to grow your business. You're still thinking about your physical health. You're not putting those things as like what we see and what we've seen in successful multimillionaire people. And a lot of people get to that point through just like damaging their body, and they're raging on weekends and they're kind of like, they're so stressed out. And Erika, like you've been going through it, like with trying to find the balance and schedule. So there's so much I just said, but I just love listening to both of you and just your stories. So yeah, sorry if that any of that all of that makes sense. Just
Might have to come back to the second piece because
Okay.
but I'll just be quick with my little story. Well, I just have to say too that my mom and I never even tried the water when we invested. We were just like, oh, okay. We invested, it's in health and wellness. Great. I'm sure it's great water. I mean, we don't need to try it. We were just so called by our intuition that this was our answer for the generational wealth, for the vision that I had for being my own boss and growing my own business and time freedom and all those things. And so, because sometimes like that comes up, you know, when we're talking with new people and leads in our business, like, oh, well, can I try the water? And we have such a huge community that we can most of the time make it happen.
Mhm.
But like when you're so like in an alignment and in your body and knowing what you want, like I don't think that stuff would even matter. Like you just know. It's just a knowing, just like we know the earth is 70% water because you know, so and for me the health journey, you know, I dropped like 20 pounds when I first started drinking the water and was just like I have some photos of like I was just so inflamed and puffy and not like homeostasis. And then the water came in. I also didn't really have you know, stress at that time. And I think that really helped as well drop the weight. But I was like high school weight. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, like who is this girl? Like what is happening? The only thing I changed is the water I was pretty much drinking and the stress too. The stress in my life was really low and just like flowing. And so that was a huge piece. And the one thing my mom didn't really talk about, which we love, well, we kind of have a little bit, is the 70 uses of water, like turning it into a sanctuary. Like it's not just like, oh, you're spending 5K on good drinking water here. Like you are spending money on a whole sanctuary home of using, you know, the 2.5 pH. And my friend, I just went to dinner with my friend the other day and she really wants to go to Japan and that's where our machines are made. And she was reading that you cannot bring in any pharmaceuticals into that country if you go through customs. It literally said an example, if you have depression and you need depression medication, then you can't come to this country. You can't bring this medication with you into the country. Like that's how like healthy and like aware Japan is on, you know, mental health and physical health and emotional health. Like they're number 3 of the, you know, healthiest countries in the world. Mm-hmm. And so I just love that our machine is from there and that's part of the system and how, you know, so many hospitals have this machine there. It's a medical grade device in that country. They use things to disinfect. They give it to their patients before even diagnosing anything. Drink this water for 30 days, then come back to me and see how your health is. So they are so new paradigm, so ahead of the game with health that it's like we can get so stuck in our box and our vision here in the States and in the Western thinking of, you know, the symptoms and things like that. But yeah, I just thought that was so cool. And she told me last night about, I was like, wow, that is pretty, like they're really a niche of wanting who they want in their country. Like they're really being forward with what they believe in, how they live their lives, and only allowing certain people into their country. Like I've never heard that with any other country around. I haven't even thought to even look into something like that. Of course, my friend is because she wants to travel there. But so yeah, I just love that we can do such a big part. I always talk about the micro and the macro, and I think that's kind of one of the questions you were guiding in earlier, because it just goes to everything's connected. And so I just loved the concept that like by drinking good water and focusing our health, by not purchasing plastic because we have cleaners at our faucet, at our disposal, we are helping the earth. We are helping the plastic consumption problem. We are not contributing to contamination and drinking contaminated water. And I loved that. I loved that it was a bigger mission than just my health. It was a bigger mission than just oh, buying this product for this supplement for my health. No, I'm buying a product that's helping my health and helping the planet. It's doing both. And our company is so forward thinking. I mean, you can go to their website and see all the other amazing things that they do to be sustainable and to help this earth back to homeostasis.
Yeah, and I think also the health ails, like as someone in the alternative arts, we've always looked for different ways to address skin, gingivitis, whatever, dandruff. You look for something other than just a med solution because we know that's a symptom base. And with the protocols of this machine, you can do that. Like we use it for deodorant. Like there's so many things. Anytime I have a burn or a skin thing or a little kid gets hurt, you have all these things at your disposal and they're natural. They're part of your body system. They're water.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing sometimes to really think, wow, water can do all this, but yeah, it can. And of course, because it's the life giver. But I think that's a huge part of the circle of connection is that we're healing ourselves continually and others through this flowing substance that doesn't have preservatives and doesn't have
label.
Shit on a shelf. Sit on a shelf.
Shit on a shelf. Sit on a shelf with labels.
When you were saying that about health, I think that's important for me. The biggest parts are the sustainability and health as a healer.
Well, and my mom did the Melaleuca thing, and it was basically product based. It was product, not non-toxic, product based that got my mom into it. And now she has a product that has no label. It's at her faucet. Like you said, it's at your disposable. It's like insanity.
And it does have all these uses. And there's this, like, again, it's that feminine connection. You know what I mean? We're using what's around us to heal us, and we're using natural things. It's like making tea out of the pine leaves outside, or chewing on it for some vitamin C boost. Like, it's just part of innateness, I think, that women and have naturally, that what's here heals us. We don't need to make preservatives,
go outside of us.
And then that connection, we're the healers, the women, just as nature. We're the raisers, we're the earth element. So we are so connected to each other. I mean, I think if you call one woman, you could hit every woman in the entire world, because every woman is like the connection and the network we have is very much like water, but we've just never activated it. We haven't had to use it, but it is there because that is really our job. And so for me, this connection of when you get yourself centered and you're living in your wholeness in whatever way that is, and there's no right or wrong way to do that, you find other people that are looking and developing wholeness. And that electromagnetic field, like we call it magnetism.
Yes.
I'm in my magnificence. I'm here to meet you in your magnificence. That's the draw that feminine power has. It's the flower that stands there and is filled and nourished and pretty and smells good and has architecture that the bees just come to. And between water and, all of the wholeness that we're bringing through this business, because there's a lot of self-development and learning of self. And overcoming that, we draw in those.
And with just the whole like alignment piece too. Oh no, my computer's the whole alignment piece is like, the hydrated mindset. Pause though, my computer's about to die. Hopefully Alex can edit this for a second. If not, that's part of living life in the moment.
No, we have these things. My alarm will go. I'm usually the worst.
Here,
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. It seems like it's about to go any second.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. The green. Yep.
Stream of consciousness is always so fun because you have no idea what's going to come out of your mouth. That's why we do ours that way. It's something I learned as a minister and in my spiritual mastery. I'm a master in spiritual science. And you would have to answer in that moment, not pre-think. like blah, 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 blah. And like you'd be listening to their question, you'd go, hey, oh, I'm going to answer it like this. But they'd be like, no, in that moment when they ask you what comes up then.
Yeah, it's awareness.
And it's a good
practice.
All right, go ahead. Where were you?
So I was saying, just like a hydrated mindset. That's what this water really gives you. If we think of it in that way, it gives you alignment, it gives you clarity. You're actually thinking because your brain's hydrated. You're actually digesting life and food because your digestion's working better. You can feel from your heart because it's beating better, because it's the blood is flowing. Like there's just that piece of the water is like the esoteric kind of piece, but the physical piece at the same side is just such a incredible thing. I mean, we say when you get your machine, you kind of have a what's the word I'm looking for? You kind of get like indicted, or you have like
initiated.
You get initiated. Like sometimes shit happens when you start doing that because your life is shifting so much. You're coming into this a crazy alignment just from drinking water. I mean, from the team that I've built, I can name like a couple different situations when they got this machine and started drinking such powerful living water that we are meant to be drinking every day, that we drank in nature when we were hunter-gatherers. Like things shifted, things happened. Sometimes it exploded, sometimes it was beautiful, but it was a type of initiation because this is such a powerful life source for animals, for beings, for people. And so yeah, that's kind of the health benefit, the sustainability benefit. It was like $5,000 for that, like for 26 years at last. Like, are you kidding me? Like people spend $40,000 on a new car that lasts 10 years. Like to me, it's like a no-brainer. It's barely even any money to spend on your health. You could get plastic surgery, you could get a tummy tuck, you could get these different things, cost about $5,000 too, and probably only last you X amount of years. So yeah, the whole concept of, it's abundance on tap, right? So where's your abundance? Where's your mindset? Are you looking at it as an expense? Or are you looking at it as a whole different mindset change, a whole different lifestyle change that's going to catapult you in a whole different abundant, a whole different place than just getting that one thing that will be cool for a week and then you're like, okay, whatever, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah, that long-term piece. I mean, I just got, prior to this, I just invested a couple $100s in fruit trees that won't fruit for years, right? But it's that idea that I'm investing now for the future, right? So it's something that, like, especially in America, we're really just taught like instant gratification. Like that guy I was talking about, he wants the plastic cup because it's instant and he doesn't have to think about it. There's no responsibility attached, right? Like if it gets lost, broken, whatever, right? It's a plastic cup. But he's not thinking about the long-term life of that plastic cup, right? That plastic cup is just going to be around, we say 500 years, but how do we even know? Plastic's only been around 60 years. So like, where is this number coming from? Like, how do we even really know? And we know it's already harming the earth and the planet and the like it's in the oceans and it's all in everything, like everywhere you go. Farming is huge, like plastic, plastic containers for all the things. So it feels so good to have a solution, to have something that sits on our countertop that we can travel with, that literally can be a solution to so many of the things that you were figuring out. Like you bought products through other companies that did what our Kangen machines do, and there was always a finite, there was always an empty bottle. You would always have to replace that bottle, and there's no easy way for most companies to send the bottle in and then get it filled. You have to buy a brand new bottle. So when you do with the old bottle, you throw it out, and that's just the mentality that we were in. And now, and Lyn wasn't there, but a lot of people are, and maybe that's where you are if you're listening, but we're telling you this is a solution for 2.5 decades, that you get access to something that you never have to buy. There's no finite amount, there's no empty bottle, and when there is, you just go refill it. And so all of the things that you shared today are just so amazing. I love both of your stories. Is there anything else that you want to share? Is there any last minute pieces that you really want to just anything else that you want to bring to this conversation today?
Well, I just want people to really be aware of what that 70% is.
Yeah.
We have issues with our food, even our greatest farming. We have issues with our air. We have issues all around our environment. But one thing we can do that's going to be faster than anything is to hydrate and flush. So whatever toxic environment, you can't ever get all beat up or all panicked about all this stuff. It's good to be aware. But water, the flushing and hydration is really the easiest tool to continue evolve in health. And I feel that's important. I feel that was my aha moment. And as a healer, that's what I want to inspire people to realize. It's going to take a while to change our food system, our polluters. It's very big business. It's very corporate. And hopefully the generations forward are really going to make tracks in that. And I think that's what we're holding the space here for. In the meanwhile, we can just hydrate and detox all
Ourselves.
That's around.
Mm-hmm.
And our bodies are going to evolve and adapt to that level.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, for me, I think it's just, yeah, like, how do you want to show up in the world? Be the change that you want to be. And so if that starts with you and your health, and then even working on being your own boss and having that sovereignty, this is a great solution for that. And if it's not, like, really just whoever's listening, like, really tap into that. Like, how do I want to be in this world without any parents, without any partners, without anyone? Like, what is my mission here? Do I have a mission? Do I have a purpose? Is it just focusing on my health? Is it building a business? Is it focusing on climate change? Whatever that is, that's what we need right now, is your uniqueness, your purpose, your showing up in your authentic way. And for me, this water supports me so much in that, on a financial level, a time freedom level, a health level, a micro macro level. And I couldn't be more grateful that it's here. And I've met a community like Ashley and a lot of other people that will be on this podcast. It's just so cool to just be part of such a big movement and new paradigm. And the last thing I want to say is my mom and I do have a podcast as well. We are the Magical Holistic Healing Arts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're all over. And then also to just follow us on Instagram, which I'm sure my mom on Twitter, she's a Twitter girl. And I'm sure all that stuff will be down below, but we'd love to connect and hear what you guys think about this episode.
Thank you so much for all of the wisdom that you shared and just the magnetism that you both hold. And I just want you to see the radiance in these two women, because they're generations apart, but look at like how embodied, how present, how clear they really are on what they're doing and how they're doing it, and how they're living their lives. And please do follow them on their social channels and reach out, because they're doing a lot in the world of health and wealth. And their stories, just the way they're living their lives, is just exactly how I want to create, a community of people living their lives. It's in the authenticity. It's feeling what feels right. It's literally letting go of so much stuff. When Lyn says detox, it's not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's all the things that we just hold on to as pieces and parts of ourselves. But then once the hydration flows in, it softens it all out. And it's like, what needs to stay and what needs to go? Because it's going to be so fast with the hydrogen, I believe, and just the way the universe is speeding up right now. I just feel like you have the opportunity to really shift your life in a massive way in a condensed amount of time. Because if you look at the journey, both Lyn, Erika, and I have been on, we've all found the water around the same time. So 3 years, right? It's been so much transformation has happened in just this short amount of like the patriarchal time clock that we go off of, the Gregorian calendar, right, tells me 3 years, but it's just felt like lifetimes that I've been able to overcome. And as a mom and just somebody living post pandemic, right? Like, how do we create because whatever was here before is no longer. When people say they're like waiting for it to go back to normal, like there is no normal. There never was. What was happening was failing anyway. So now everything that we're a part of and everything these two women are speaking of is that creation of what they want to see, of the life they want to live, of the world they want to live in. So thank you all so much for listening, for tapping in, for tuning in. Please share this with anybody that you feel would benefit from this. If there's a parent in your life, somebody who wants to dream big, because this is the biggest dream of all for me, to be able to work side by side with my children in a project that inspires me and lights me up daily. These two women are already embodying that, and I love that so much about them. So thank you both so much for being here. And yeah, is there anything else you want to say before we close this out?
Just thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ashley. Yeah, thank you for giving us a chance to share our voice, as we are always interviewing people. So it was nice to be on the other side. So love you and thank you.
Thank you.